Covering up to a third of South Africa, grasslands are vital for all forms of life. They attract the greatest rainfall, and the 42 rivers which lie within their orbit sustain the livelihoods of millions. One of the grasslands, the Pongola Catchment, provides water for at least 2 million people. Over 370 bird species, including South Africa's iconic blue crane, thrive in the wetlands which lie within this precious environment.
The key threats that we found in this biome would be irrigation of the land, which would lead to the water sources being really used intensively to irrigate those crops and agricultural spaces. That's the first man-made threat. The second threat would be mining.
Despite their value, the grasslands and water sources harbored are at risk. Only 3% have protected area status. Recognizing the biological significance of the Pongola catchment and that effective conservation needs to involve those living on the land, WWF's Grasslands program was established.
We've divided our work into two groups, mainly the commercial farmers. So those would be those that derive an income from their agricultural practices. And then we work as well with the communities, and they would be mainly subsistence farmers. Sometimes they would not even be deriving much from the actual land, but we knew that they were also placed in critical areas that needed to be conserved.
Cattle have long been the main source of income and security for the Zulu, Pongola's indigenous occupants.
As this Zulu nation people, very old people still believe that for you to live, to succeed, you've got to have livestock, and livestock is an indicator of their wealth.
While overgrazing can damage grasslands, leading to species loss and soil erosion, effective grazing is beneficial to grasslands.
That's why we're making sure that we're teaching them about good grazing regimes. That includes your rotations. And then from there, we try to teach them a lot about grasses.
It's hard to imagine that one small, scrubby grass patch is packed with diversity.
In a small place like this, you see maybe about 5 to 10 different types of grass and 5 to 10 different types of forbs or small little shrubby plants. That is what we call biodiversity. So it must be different. Even if you say that the grass vika is good, but if it's only one type of grass, then that's not good.
Encouraging more effective grazing is just one of the measures inspired by the Grasslands program. Others include clearing alien species, which provides much-needed jobs and income.
Besizakala kakhulu ngoba itoho lakhe uayanda lumsonzi wakhe ubusinceda ngemali ngoba lapha sihlezi nje asinamatoho asinani siyihlelele nje. Awusajabula kakhulu sathi awunkosi yami sathola isinkwa ukuthi nabantwana balala bedlile.
Mitigating against natural hazards, like the ongoing 2-year drought, is a challenge for all farmers. Many large-scale landowners view adopting sustainable practices as risky. Ralph, whose family has farmed for generations, believes they have been beneficial.
Often farmers consider environmental people as the enemies. But I think the benefits of farmers of working together with environmentalists, not just to the benefit of the environment and to the soil and all the good things that come along with it, but to your finances, it also makes a difference, because if you get limited rain and you're getting more bucks for the rain that you get because you've conserved your moisture, it just makes business sense.
Just as the communities use cattle to improve grasslands, Ralph is adopting techniques to help improve the productivity of the soil.
The cattle have been on this field, there was maize, and they actually grazed the stover and trampled a lot of it onto the soil to make contact with the soil. And we can actually see the composting process starting to take place on soil level.
High-tech methods are also used.
Our landowners make different choices when it comes to the type of practices that they have on their land to benefit that water source.
When not at work on his field, the herd, which Ralph owns with 2 other farmers, graze the rocky outcrops. Even here, it's important to move the cattle from patch to patch.
South Africa, the last 2 years, had a very, very severe drought. And this conservation agriculture has made a huge difference. I think if we take the rainfall, my father said just a few weeks ago, he said to me, with the same rainfall 20 years ago, when we were still tilling the soil and churning up, we would have had no crop. With the conservation agriculture, we nearly still had an average crop. It was below average, but it was still, actually a good crop, even with the driest season in 20 years.
Samkelo works with 19 commercial farmers. Each has signed an agreement committing to conservation. Over 45,000 hectares are now safeguarded as protected areas.
We came in and wanted management of the landscape to include conservation principles more generally, but also we wanted protection to be more formal in the sense that we wanted declared nature reserves and declared protected environments that come with attendance management plans. But spaces like these are productive landscapes and they don't have iconic species, but they do provide food, energy and water. And without those, no one can actually survive. So I think if we would have more funds channeled into these productive spaces, that would really mean that our job is a job well done.
By investing in managing and safeguarding biodiversity, water services, food security and livelihoods are better protected, yet threats to the grasslands continue. Fire is a constant hazard, and mining remains a fear, with seams of shale luring unscrupulous profiteers.
In this area that we're standing in right now, there was a potential mine that was disputing their right to mine this area, but because of the protected status of this area, that mine could not go on. That was a definite win for conservation.